about the home buying process. We're going to start off with going over just 9 steps about that, and then we're going to have Perry from Applied Ethics Home Inspection to go over that process with you. And we have Deborah Schlager with Associated Bank. She's going to fill in for us and talk about some of the appraisals and answer any banking questions as well this evening. So get ready to sit back, relax, take some good notes, because we're going to help you thrust forward into home ownership. So, in breaking out these 9 steps of home ownership, the first one is to go out and get pre-approved, right? But typically in our process, we work to help families be able to go through the pre-approval process by going to a HUD counselor first. We want to be able to fix anything that might need to be improved prior to it going to the bank, right? So we have partnered and aligned ourselves with Far South CDC, which is a HUD counseling agency, and we've asked them to be able to go and help our clients. So whether you are ready for home ownership right now today, or whether it's 30 days from there, or 6 months, 9 months, a year, it doesn't matter. We work to meet you where you are and then help you get to being pre-approved first. So once you get pre-approved, and then this is the letter that tells you what it is that you have as an amount for you to go out and go shopping. In most cases, the lender will say, okay, this person, we approve them at $250,000, and they have a threshold on the taxes that you can go into, right? So they'll say something like, we put it in with taxes at $3,000, and maybe they put in $100 a month for insurance. So they take a look at these things for you to stay within the numbers of the pre-approval. Now, sometimes there's some flexibility with that, right? Say, for instance, that you got a pre-approval for $250,000, but you decided to go and move somewhere else, and you needed to go in a suburban area, for instance. You want to go in a suburban area, the taxes are usually a lot higher out there. So then that takes your pre-approval amount and takes it down. So then maybe you are only eligible for a pre-approval of $175,000 because your taxes is taking up a lot of your pre-approval amount. I'm going to have Deb to speak a little bit more about that, seeing that she's an expert in the industry when we get to her piece. So once you get pre-approved, then the next thing we do right away is we work to find a realtor. But guess what? You guys don't have to do that, because here I am right here for you, ready to take you out shopping to find your perfect home for the perfect price that's in perfectly divine order for you. That is our goal. So step 3, we get you set up with the MLS. That's the multi-listing services. So throughout the state of Illinois, we have access to data where sellers place their properties out there for sale. If you tell me, Nicole, I really want to be in the Washington Heights area, the Auburn Gresham, or I want to be in West Garfield Park, wherever it is, I can narrow down where you want to be at, put in your pre-approval amount, and then start to send you properties through emails. And also we have this other thing called HomeSnap, where we sign up for the app. It's completely for free for everyone to sign up on it, and I'm able to snap you homes real quick as soon as they hit on the market. So this is the way that we start communicating, so that I can get a general understanding of what it is that you like. What is it that you want? What is it that you need? Or whoever you choose to work with, they want to understand what is it that this client is looking for. The more information you have, the better it is for us. So if you come in saying, listen, I gotta have 4 bedrooms and no less than 2 full baths, and then we know what criteria to put inside of that for you, so that we can help you find exactly what it is that you need. And so this is the step that we start doing. Now, once I send you some of these, we try to set up anywhere from 3 to 5 of them, and then we go out into step 4, where we actually go and visit these homes. You want to go out and try to see 3 or 4 at a time, not just, let me go see 1 today and then 1 tomorrow. No, let's take a look, see how many we can see, and go out and visit those places back to back, so you can have a general idea of how they look. I can tell you that a picture is not always worth 1,000 words in real estate. It's just not. I have seen some of the most elaborate, amazing photographs of homes, And then when I get in there, I cannot believe my eyes because they do the Photoshop, make them look really great, have you to come out there and take a look at it. And I'm thinking, oh, this house is perfect. And then you get in there and be like, oh my God, the floor is wobbly. You know, they have all these other eccentric little things in here that look like it was nice on the pictures, but when you get in there, it looks very cheap. And then it's been the opposite of that too. Sometimes a person didn't do a good job at taking pictures. And so they didn't take good pictures, but at the end of the day, when I get in that house, because sometimes I just get a feeling and say, listen, I think we need to go and visit this house because it has a lot of what you want. And we get in there and we're amazed at how beautiful it was, but they didn't have a great photographer. So I always tell people, keep an open mind. Don't just be a person who's looking only online, because if you do that and you don't start getting out, you'll never get a real picture of how some things look, right? Now, once we've gone down and take a look at those properties and you say, oh my God, you know what, Nicole, I want 9542 South Greenwood. I want that place. Now, let's just say that that place is listed for $250,000 and it has every single thing that you want in it. So we start to plan and prepare to put in an offer, right? And it really just depends. I look at everything. How long has the property been on the market? If it's something that's fairly new, like in the first day or two or a week or so, they're not going to be so apt to negotiate too much of anything that soon, because they want to be able to have some time, some skin in the game to figure out exactly what amount they can get the highest and the best for themselves, right? So we'll go in, make a decision on what is the best type of offer to put in for that property. It's going to be the one that you feel the most comfortable with, and then we'll go and put in that offer. Now, once that offer is in, that doesn't mean that we got that property. It doesn't work like that. That means that we are working to try to obtain that property. But nevertheless, the great thing is that we're putting some skin in the game to say, this is what I want. And then I always write a nice little letter to the seller's agent, asking them to send it to the owner. Not much about my buyer anymore, but really about the lender that they're working with. And I'm talking about the structure of the loan, because, you know, there's a lot of rules and regulations around what you can and can't say about your buyer in a letter. So instead of focusing on that, we focus primarily on the strength of the lender getting that person to the finish line and how swiftly they can work, what type of loan product that they're in, how long the lender has been there, you know, in this field. And so those things are very impressive to a person when they're preparing for an order. For an offer. So they're taking a look at that and saying, hey, I want to know, is this going to get to the finish line, right? So if we get an accepted, executed offer, that is phenomenal. That means that they have signed off on it on their end. We've signed off on it on our end, saying we want to move forward with buying this property. Now, right away, you got to turn in your earnest money. That's usually due within 2 days. Earnest money is good faith money that says, listen, I'm going to put down $1,000 or even $2,000 if you're negotiating a good deal. And you say, I want to hold these funds here. I want you to know that I'm a serious purchaser. And the funds stay with either a title company or with the realtor's office until it's time for you to close. So those funds don't disappear. They're there waiting for you. And on your closing date, they're deducted from what you have to bring at closing. But earnest money is utilized on every single deal to make sure that you have some skin in the game and that you're serious about moving forward. And then when we start the process right away of getting you into this property and preparing for us to go through this process for you, the next thing that we do is have your attorney to review all of the documentation. They have a general letter that they send out to protect your interests, you know, secure your earnest money, to help make sure that you understand the process while we go out and do an inspection. I highly recommend that no person not get a property, unless it's a gut rehab anyway, not have an inspector to look at that home. You cannot go in and try to save $500 not to know the full health of your house. Sometimes it's a little bit more, but it's around $500-600. But that's one of the best investments you will ever make in home ownership. The absolute best investment that you will ever make, because at the end of the day, that inspector goes in and they find every single thing that that house needs to do. What needs to be done in it? How do we repair it? What do we do to make it best? It's also a negotiation tool for us. Maybe we need to go back and ask them for some additional money to make repairs and different things like that. But it is critical that we have that inspection report, and it helps you to understand your home. It's one of the best investments you'll make. But I'm going to defer that conversation to Mr. Perry when it's his turn to speak about the inspections next. The step 7 is the post-attorney review period. So the attorneys are reviewing all the information, making sure that your interest is being protected. They want to ensure that if there's anything that needs to be altered, changed, delete, do we need an extension because the bank is not ready right now to close you? Whatever it is, your attorney is on your side. So you have a team of people. When I say a team, I'm talking about you have your realtor, you have your HUD counselor, you have your banker, you have your attorney, you have your inspector. You have all these people that are working for your good on your side to help make sure that you cross the finish line quickly, peacefully, and to ensure that all of your interest is protected in this process, right? So step 8 is the fun part. Right before we get ready to go on closing, we do a final walkthrough of the home. We want to make sure that it's in the same condition. Let me tell you, I have literally been to some properties. This is a home that we were buying. This place, one of my clients, it was beautiful. It has so much historic beauty in this place. And so on the day of our final walkthrough, do you know that a ceiling had fallen in one of the bedrooms? Come to find out, it was a serious piping issue that had not been resolved. So we're walking through this beautiful home, ready for her to close. She's moving in on the weekend, and lo and behold, the ceiling had fell in one of the rooms on the first floor. So we had to renegotiate the deal within 24 very quick hours to get that stuff fixed. They had to send in emergency people to get everything done. Money had to be set aside at closing to ensure that they completed it. You know, it was a lot, but you have to do a final walkthrough to make sure that that house is in the same condition as it was when you said that you wanted it, right? And so step 9, we always have fun. If your realtor did an excellent job for you, then you want to recommend and refer them so that you can create other opportunities for them to support other individuals in this business. I'm going to open it up right now for any questions that anyone may have about the real estate process.
If you have a question, please raise your hand and then we will call on you.
Hey, I had a question for you, Miss Wheatley. How you doing tonight?
Wonderful. And yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. First of all, I'd like to say, tell everyone, thank you so much for being on this panel and bringing such a wealth of information. Question for you about attorneys. Is an attorney optional? Is an attorney really needed? And does an attorney help where finding different liens against the property is concerned? Because I know sometimes a lot of people go into real estate and they don't really understand that the importance of not cutting corners. But when money, they'll look at it, they'll say, I could keep a few dollars in my pocket. I guess an attorney, on my behalf, my attorney isn't necessary. Can you step me through that and the importance, or if it's really important or not?
Oh, wow. I'm going to tell you, just like I said, how important it was to have an inspector there, have an attorney to walk through everything with you. Listen, there's a lot of deadlines that goes in this process. And so you don't want someone to miss a deadline. Not to mention, it's a lot of legal, detailed information, documents, 50, 100 pages. These individuals are experienced with understanding the details of that language and they can interpret that information to you, I would not advise for anyone to close on any property without an attorney. Not at all. You
Where
absolutely
did
need someone to be able to protect your interests. And that's exactly what an attorney does. That attorney is looking at everything. They're making sure that every extension is applied for. Because if you get out, let me give you an example, right? If I put in for an extension on a property, right? So the bank says, hey, Nicole, I think we're going to get you closed on the 29th. On the 28th, they say, we're not going to be able to get you closed. Now, our date to close was on the 29th. So then now an extension has to be applied for another week or so to try to get us closed. If you put yourself in a situation where you don't have an attorney to help you with that information, then and another extension is not placed out there, you literally they can walk away from the deal and accept the other offer to back up that it was. So you have an attorney that is protecting your interests all the way through the entire transaction. Don't ever it's really cheating yourself out of not having an inspector and not having an attorney. That the two of them may cost a little over $1,000, and it's two of the best investments you'll ever make. Do not shortchange yourself with that.
And the reason I'm asking is because, you got to put some skin in the game at the beginning, and people may look at it like it's extra money, but in the long run, it's like buying a product and don't have insurance on it. Like, you really want something that's gonna be able to back you up. Now, where do you find an attorney? Is it the same attorney that I go to court just in case I did a crime?
Yeah.
Is it a different kind of attorney? Like, what's the process? Like, I'm so new to this.
That is really good. Usually, your realtor will have for you some really good referrals. I would always check with that person first, because they have a network that they build and work with. They know each other, work together. I would definitely suggest that, but you must get a real estate attorney that does real estate transactions. You would never go out and obtain a person who does bankruptcies to do your real estate transaction. That is not the language that they speak. That's not the information that they understand. And they could potentially not protect your interests in a way that will ensure that you are protected. So we definitely want to go with an industry expert that's a real estate agent who has history with doing real estate deals and that understands this process, how to work it, how to do the extensions, to work with the bankers, how to work with all the key players. Got to have the right type of person.
Got you. Thank you so much for that.
Excellent question.
Great. Now, Ms. Wheatley, I do see that we have 4 people who have questions. The first person was Miss Alicia. The second person was Miss Belinda. So Miss Alicia, if you still have your hand up, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, Miss Wheatley.
Yes, Durham.
In my case, okay, I did a rent-to-own home in the past. Well, I rented it for 7 years. I was going to buy it, but it was in K-Town on the west side. And I have 2 sons. They're 21 and 29 now. We moved out of there back in 2019 because the house had a lot of mold in it and it was making me sick. But like I said, we have been there for 7 years. So my question to you is, when we go, say for instance, my family a house, because my church is on 110th and Ashland, and I know it's a lot of new houses right there. I notice them every Sunday when I go to church. Say for instance, if I decide to get one of those, will you all help someone do like a house inspection so there won't be any mold in there?
Yes, your inspector will be able to point that out to you. And I'm going to probably have Perry to talk a little bit more about that. They will point that out to you and say, hey, there's mold in here. Now, sometimes people do cover up mold. So I'll let Perry be able to talk a little bit about that when he comes up next, since that is his area of expertise. But usually they're able to look at it on the surface and they'll say to you, I think you need to bring in a mold specialist or whatever to double check it and things like that. But yes, that part is looked at on the surface. And then sometimes you got to go a little bit more further by bringing in an actual mold specialist to take a look at that property. But Perry will probably be able to add a little bit more, and he'll be coming up next. I'm going to jump in the chat real quick. I see Belinda, how long should you wait once an offer is made on a property? So if you put in an offer, usually you'll hear within 24 to 48 hours if yours is accepted or not. Sometimes it is longer. It is. I just had an offer that took almost a week for them to make a decision. I don't really know why it took that long, but it did. But for the most part, it's about 24 to 48 hours that they let you know. Sometimes if we go out, they got showings all the way. Say for instance, we get out on a Wednesday and they got showings all the way up to Saturday. They may wait all the way to the end so they can see what's the highest they're gonna get. And then they'll make a decision. So it's not always set in stone as to how or when it will be, but usually it's 24 to 48 hours. Could be longer. Oh, I'm so glad, Takira, that you asked that question. Should you only work with one realtor or look around? Let me just explain to you. That's so important. Imagine that you have a job and you go out and you work that job every single day. You're going out, you're going to work every day. You're taking care of that job. And then they just say, you know what? Hey, I'm not going to pay you. I'm not going to pay you for all the work you did. That's what happens when you try to work with more than one realtor at a time. When a realtor starts to work for you, they're going out, they're spending their gas, their time, their money, everything to get you out, to take you around, to help you find a property. And then the only way that they get paid is on the day that you close. If a person goes out and they go and get another person in, then you already know that only one person can get you to the finish line. It is always only fair to always work with one realtor. We all have access to the same data and the same information, right? So you find the realtor that connects with you the most and that you can feel the most comfortable with, to build with, and that is the person that you choose to work with. And I don't know if I said that I'm available for you right here, right now to help assist you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wheatley. We also have Mr. Washington's hand up. Mr. Washington.
Yes, my question was, so when throughout the process, should you do the do like a title search upon a property to make sure that there is no lien against the property or anything? So what part of the process do you do that part in?
That's really good because that's what your attorney does for you. The attorney does all that information for you. They look and make sure there's no liens on the property and all those other things. Yeah, they check and make sure all those things are in order for you. That's why you hire them. That's a part of them looking out for their best interests. And they'll let you know, hey, this person is a part of the building department and they got some issues with that property. They'll let you know that right away.
Okay, and we have one more question in the chat box, which is, what is the determining factors for how much one can be approved for?
That would be Deborah.
I'm here. So the approval consists of your income, what your income is, what your monthly reoccurring debts are. And then also we look at your credit score to see what kind of program we can put you in, because to get grant money or certain first-time home buyer programs, you have to have a minimum credit score. And the minimum credit score is a 640.
Awesome. Well, Ms. Deborah, since you are on the line speaking right now, can you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Deborah Schlager. I work for Associated Bank. I've been in the industry for 41 years. Most of my clients, almost all my clients, are first-time home buyers. We do have, there's great programs out there. Interest rates are still very low. There's programs out there with 3% down payment, no private mortgage insurance, and there are grants available. So the grants can give you free down payment assistance or down payment assistance where it might be for 5 years, the grant, and you have to keep the property and not sell it. But there is money out there. And since the first of the year, next year, most of the grants, because there's a lot of grants that we ran out of money because they've already been used. So the first of the year, more grants will be available.
Thank you. And Ms. Deborah, if you don't mind just sharing with everyone, because I know last week we were talking about the lending process, but for those that are here this week that wasn't on the call, can you just give us a breakdown of what the lending process is?
Sure. So Nicole said in the beginning, we send the buyers to the non-for-profit. Yes, first of all, first-time home buyers should take the class because it explains everything in the mortgage process. Plus, we also get, it's called a soft pull on your credit. When you're shopping, do not let the lenders run your credit, because the more times your credit is pulled, it is a hard pull on your credit. It will make your score go down. So when you're shopping, that's why we say go to the non-for-profit. They do, it's called a soft pull on your credit. And it does not affect your score at all. And no one can see that they ran the credit. So there's no inquiry on your credit. This way, I can look at your credit report and say, okay, we need to increase your score. It might be a little bit low to get free down payment assistance. Pay this credit card down a little bit. Also, collections. This is a big thing. A lot of people get the wrong information from different lenders and different people that they talk to. Do not pay off collections. If you have collections, do not pay them off, because what happens when you pay those collections off, it triggers your credit and it looks like it's a new collection going on your credit and your score will drop. Almost all the time, unless you get an FHA loan that has different guidelines, almost all the time, you do not have to pay off that collection. So keep your money in the bank. Don't pay off any collections. We also send you to the non-for-profit because they have you take the home buyer education class. And to get any down payment assistance, you have to have that certificate from the HUD agency that says you completed the 8-hour class. And any grant that's out there, you do need that certificate. Also, when you apply for a mortgage, say we looked at your credit and now you decide, yep, your credit score is good, we can qualify you, you bring all the documentation in, we have you bring 2 years tax returns. So right now we would get 2019 and 2020. We ask for 30 days complete pay stubs. So for the last 30 days. 2 months of bank statements, all the pages, because sometimes it's 1 through 10 and some of the pages are blank. We need every single page. We ask for a picture ID and then we send you the link. You go on, you complete your personal information, and then we look at all of the documentation that you gave me. If I have any questions, I call you and ask you, okay, like say your year-to-date earnings are low because of COVID and the company was shut down. That does not mean you're not going to get a mortgage. Yes, you can get a mortgage. We just have to have a letter of explanation and explain why earnings might be low year-to-date. Let's see. Someone is asking a question, how you apply for the grants. The grants, because we need to know what kind of property you're purchasing, how much you're going to put down, the sales price. Once we have a contract, then I can let you know what grants are available, and then you can apply for the grants. Some of the grants our bank does on our own. Other grants, you would apply. NHS has a grant that Nicole works with also, the MMRP for $15,000. That money is exhausted right now, but next year it should become available again. So we can layer grants also. So whatever grants are out there, we can layer them on top of each other to get you the most money that is available.
Yep, and
Okay,
if I
I
can
see.
add to that too, really quickly before we bring on Perry, is that I just sent a grant that we just found out about from NHS where they help with $3,000 worth of your closing costs. Remember, grants are not just always sitting waiting for you, right? They start at the beginning of the year, and then they last until they run out. So you have to be on top of it. Like right now, a lot of the grants are exhausted. We were lucky to find this one. And then now you also have your banker, like Deb's organization offer $4,500. So it's different ways that you can layer it. Her $4,500 with the $3,000 is actually giving you $7,500, right? So it's different things that's like that. When you buy in the city, there's different city programs, but they are literally, as you know, they're available until they're exhausted. So if there's not many at all, and that's available in the suburban area. You know, there was this one grant, remember that one grant that was like $6,000 there that came out? And I mean, that thing was gone before you knew it.
Right.
And I haven't seen any other grants available specifically for the funds that were, you know, for home ownership. Is this including the $25,000 for home buyers? Okay, everyone keeps talking about this, but it's not available yet. That's the same 25,000. This is a bill that they are waiting to get approved, and then it has to be
With
filtered
Biden.
down. We have no idea, one, if it's going to be finally approved, two, when it's going to be filtered down. So all I can say is that we all have to keep our eye on that information. to
But
see if it's
also, Nicole, with that
Mhm.
$25,000 grant, it would have to go through the legal department, because who knows what the guidelines are, what kind
Yeah.
of lien they want. So
what
just
kind
because
of income is needed.
right,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
just because grants are available, you might not even want that grant, because sometimes you have to keep the house for more than 5 years. You can't sell it. Some of them are very strict. And on a $25,000 grant, it's going to be very strict.
Yeah. But the great thing is that, you know, when you start walking down this process, the things that you need, you know, the universe opens up and provides you with that. I would say just remain positive and continue to thrust forward with it. It's so easy to quit and give up. Oh, you know, I've been working on this for so long and I've been waiting for my credit score to go up. Listen, what else do you have to do but to keep working towards progress? Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to know that this is something that's worth working towards, and put whatever skin in the game that's required to ensure your success. It's future success, but this gives people an opportunity to create a legacy of love for generations to come. It helps for your families to be able to see, you know what, if my uncle could do this, so can I. If my aunt could do this, so can I. If my mother did it, you know, I could do it too. So these are the things that are needed, and that has it in place so that people can feel good about the next steps in this process. If I can just leave you guys with one important thing before we have Perry, is don't, whatever you do, never ever quit in this process. Doesn't matter if you're 30 days out, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Stay in it for the long haul. I helped a gentleman, literally, I promise you, we worked on him for a year and a half. A year and a half. He had to get his credit score up, and he needed to make more money with more job stability. And because he had only been on his job for 6 months when we first started, he needed a year and a half. In between that time, we was able to get him his credit raised up. He was able to purchase a property. Now his thing was unreal. We found him a nice 2-flat out in the hundreds for $90,000, right? Now it was a little fixer up, but don't get me wrong, but it was enough in condition for him to move into one of the apartments and live completely for rent free, because the other apartment paid for his living. Now we're working on his second property right now. So yes, it took him a while, but he didn't give up. He did not quit. And that's why now he's preparing to purchase his second property.
Can I ask a quick question, Ms. Wheatley?
Yes.
You know what? I noticed that I think, you know, a lot of people, you know, of course, we always want to know, when is the grant money coming out? When is this going to happen? And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think more the focus needs to be on how do we position ourselves so when opportunity come knocking, we can open a door and we can let it on in. Prime example, are we saving money? And what does that look like? Like when you deal with a candidate that comes to you and say, I'm ready to purchase, what are some obstacles that they usually face that they didn't give themselves the time to kind of put things in place and position themselves better? I guess what I'm asking, I know one big thing is everyone, I mean, of course, everyone does, include me. Tell me what a grant money, tell me what a grant money get. You're gonna help me with down payment assistance. And for some reason, we feel like that means that we don't even have to save a lick in the bank. We have $0 in the bank and close. Can you help me understand what that looks like realistically, like realistic goals and how to position ourselves so when that time comes, we'll be A-okay and it'll be a more enjoyable process than a stressful process?
You know, I'm laughing at you because that's an excellent question. But it is way too often that individuals will not have put up some money and they want to go out and purchase a home. It's important for you to save. It's important. You need to become a contagious saver and not an excessive spender. You have to give that piece of yourself up. And you got to start, look, I am funding my future. And you have to start putting up your money. Outside of you paying your essential things that are necessary, every other penny needs to go up. You got to take a break from any spending so that you can build up the capital that is needed. Your financial institution would tell you how much money is necessary that you need to show that's available for you to be able to close. But every financial institution wants to see some skin in the game. They want to know that you have some money set aside. And so, you know, a lot of people may use their 401k programs and different things like that to close. And some of that is acceptable, but some of it has restrictions with financial institutions. So you have to, when you decide you want to do this, start preparing for it. Preparing is saving. Preparing is building. Preparing is fixing your credit. Preparing is ensuring that you got some job stability and time frames on your position or in a similar position. These things are the necessary things that's going to help you get to the finish line. The only exception, Deb, correct me if I'm wrong in this, but the only exception that there is to a person who, if you just graduate from school and you have a certificate that says, hey, somebody's hiring you, that's another way that you can close outside of the 2 years.
Correct. As long as you have your diploma and you have an offer letter from a job that's in the field that you graduated, yes. But we would need 30-day pay stubs. So if you have the offer letter, we would have to wait for 30 days to do the closing for you to get your paycheck stub to show that you're on the job.
Yes. So I want to make sure that we go over the inspection process of a home because this is a really critical piece and that's how we're going to close today. I'm going to ask for my main man, Perry, to jump on right now. And he's going to cover, he's with Applied Ethics Home Inspections. He's a phenomenal inspector that's extremely thorough. He takes his time to look at the health of a home. That's why I really love and appreciate his work. I think that for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, you definitely want to have an inspector like him on your side because he goes in and captures everything. Now, let's just be real. Owner is not going to fix everything that comes out on your inspection report. You want to ask them to fix some of your bigger stuff, but a lot of the stuff that he has on there helps you understand the small things that you need to do. That's handyman type things. So with that being said, we're going to have Mr. Perry from Applied Ethics to go over home inspections.
All right. I'm on, right? Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
You can hear me and see me? I don't see me. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, we can see you.
You can see me? Let me go over here.
We can see you just fine. You got on a black hat.
Yeah, always, right?
Yeah.
Always.
Right.
Okay. All right. So how's everybody doing out there? Hopefully everybody is doing well. I've heard a lot of the comments. And matter of fact, I want to there's a question that I heard a young lady respond to concerning money issues and stuff, the importance. But Miss Wheatley, she responded on reparations. But I like to say I've been a home inspector, been around for a while now, and I'm very excited about what I do. I love what I do. And every good company should have a mission and mission statement or values. And I want to just pass that by because I'm going to kind of squeeze it all in. I kind of got things prepared here, and hopefully we'll be able to get it together. Our mission is to constantly treat our clients with the utmost respect, integrity, while continually enhancing and protecting the values of each home inspection served. Our values is respect, teamwork, service excellence, strong working ethics, and integrity. So if you go on my website and check out some of the reviews, they're very consistent with what I try to do for each individual as a whole. What is a home inspection? A home inspection is a documented professional opinion of a home based on a visual evaluation, operational testing of a home system and components to determine their current condition. Once the home inspection is completed, you will be able to make a sound decision on the purchase of your prospective new home. Now, I want you guys to write some home inspection talking points for the chat. So if there's any questions, you might be able to have some of those things written down. So a home inspection talking point, the role of a home inspector, how to find an inspector, home inspecting versus village city inspection, cost variations between single family homes versus multiple units, square footage. When should you call an inspector? Is an inspector needed for a new construction or as is property? Lead base issues, radon. We'll talk about that. Lead paint, radon, termites or whatever. Furnaces, what should I know? Inspection report, what's in it? Will the inspector provide a report of their findings? Is there ever a need for reinspection? And what happens if I don't buy the property? Okay, so those are just some talking points you could probably roll around in your mind. But this is something that I wanted to kind of pass by based on that young lady asking the question, and Miss Wheatley, she responded. Buying a home can be one of your most significant investments in life. Not only are you choosing your dwelling place and the place in which you will bring up your family, you are most likely investing a large portion of your assessment into this venture. The more, this is that key word, the more prepared you are at the onset, the less overwhelming and chaotic the buying process will be. That's very important. Okay, a standard home inspection, which may be covered, includes lot, the grounds, the roof, exterior, surface, garage, carports, structures, the attic, the basement, the crawl space, the electrical, the heating, air conditioning systems, plumbing, fireplace, if there's one, fireplace, wood burning devices, appliances condition. Remember that your inspection rights are clearly stated in the contract for sale and varies from jurisdiction. That means Oak Lawn, the Suburbans, Maywood, Schaumburg, or whatever. That's a jurisdiction to jurisdiction. I'm probably one of the inspectors that actually try to give my clients a wealth of information that they can kind of work with. I put together an educational binder that's got a lot of really good resources in it, and it has information in it about the home to help you to be able to kind of know where the main fuel shutoff or the thermostat or what's going on with the furnace, the hot water tank, electrical. It's got a nice little booklet in there that you can kind of read. And by the time a construction guy or a handyman or somebody come by to talk to you about your property, at least you'll know the language if you read that book. And I always present it to my clients before I start the home inspection. Now, within those parameters of the, roofing, electrical, plumbing, heating, interior, the attic, the structure, the appliances, each one of those categories have certain components. Like, if I'm in your kitchen counters, undamaged kitchen sink, undamaged, or looking at the windows, the different types of windows, casements. You got double pane, you got single. So each one of those categories are taking a look at. Now, I listen. I'm a human. I make mistakes. If I was Superman and had X-ray vision, I'd probably be one of the best home inspection in Illinois or wherever, because I can see behind the walls, but I can't see behind the walls. So there are some things that I won't be able to see. We talked about. I've been trained very well, thank God. He's my boss. When it comes down to, you guys talked about mold, or mentioned something about mold. That young lady mentioned something about mold. A lot of times when I go into the basement, I've got a good sense of smell. And there's certain things that I kind of look for, that I look for. If I I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to look. I'm going to see. If I see it, I'm going to report it. It's going to be on the report. Let me see. One of the things that I do, I try to put things in order. When I normally get to the property an hour before time. If I say 9 o'clock for you, it'll be 8 o'clock for me when I get to the home inspection and I do the exterior. I start doing the exterior shots. If I say 10 o'clock, I'll be there at 9 o'clock. Just doing the exterior shots. Doing the exterior shots puts me in my home inspection zone, where I'm actually taking shots of the exterior. I got binoculars. If the roof is a hip roof, I'll wind up getting up on that roof if I can get on that roof. If that pitch is too pitchy, that's a safety concern for me. I won't get on the roof, but I would do binoculars, and I also have a way of finding out how old that roof is. The paperwork or the documents will have some jargon from the seller. If there's any warranties or documents of his last installation, I'll make sure that that information is there that we need to kind of get. And if there's any type of doubt about the roof, then we're going to have a qualified licensed roofer get up there and check that roof and validate it. Okay, so I definitely put things in perspective when it comes down to that. I'll probably go around the house maybe 2 or 3 times checking out the house, and it puts calmness in me. By the time that you guys get there at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, then we'll do a summary of that property. I'll take you around that property. I'll show you some of the things that I indicated or I see concerning that property. We'll go over it if there's any questions. I mean, I'm ecstatic about whatever questions that you want to throw at me, because it keeps me on my P's and Q's, and I look forward to that. So once we do the exterior shots, we're going to go on the inside. We start at the top and work my way down. Now, if there's in the attic, if there's some of the homes, like some of the homes that have the gable roof at the top with you can see the front dormer in the front, then you got one in the back. The way they're structured, you probably wouldn't see an attic space, but you would see knee walls on the side where you can kind of go in if they've got it boxed in, because the way the property, the way the roof, the way it's structured. I look for those. I look for attics, hatches, so that I can get in and take a look on the inside of the attic, see the insulation, see how the roof is structured. See the rafters, see the joists, see any insulation in between, and I take a lot of pictures. So we start at the top, work our way down. I go through each room, bathroom, bedroom. I'm just checking. I'm taking snapshots out of snapshots. Once I get down, second level, I get to the main basement area. I'm looking at the foundation. I'm looking for if the foundation is finished, then I can't see behind the walls. A lot of times that I look for if there's a catch basin, if there's a sump pump. I look for the electrical. I look for the main water shut off. I look for grounding for the electric. Uh, the last thing I'll normally check is your electrical box. I don't know how many of the home inspectors actually take the covers off. I take the covers off. I look for the wiring. I look for double tap. I look for wire. I look for any type of rust. I look for any type of maybe some of the wires are burnt or something like that. I'll look for that. When I say double tap, those circuits inside that electrical panel box, they were not designed to have two wires connected to a circuit. Some of the circuits actually have two screws where you can actually put two wires, but if you've got two wires connected to one screw, that's called double tap. So that's a red flag for me, and that'll be on the report. And my thing is trying to make sure that everything is validated. Okay, for instance, so your furnace, I'm gonna look at your furnace. I'm gonna fire that furnace up, even if that furnace is on when I'm there. I'm gonna make sure I turn the thermostat off, turn it down, and then I'm gonna refire it up, and I'm going to take a picture of the furnace actually being fired up. Now, when I open up that furnace, I take a look at your burners. I'll see whatever the condition is that's going on within that furnace. There's a part of the furnace that I'm always going to mention about the furnace, and that's called the heat exchanger. The heat exchanger is in the back of that furnace, and I can't see it. I have a device that can actually pick up CO2 if there's any leakage or anything like that you might get from a cracked heat exchange or anything like that. But then there's when the client is there in front of me, I go over that furnace. I show them exactly how it works. Every time that I say certain things about what's getting ready to happen to that furnace, how it's going to operate and stuff like that, it actually does. So then you've got you have your AC. You might have an AC. You might even have a boiler, radiator heat. You have your hot water tank. So there's a variety of things that I look for. And like I said, I can't. Okay, Miss Wheatley, I love her so much. And she said that you're gonna find everything, but there's 6 myths concerning what goes on and what people might say or think. I'm gonna just run them off. If you got a question you want to ask about it, I'll just read it. The 6 myths of home inspection. I don't know. I heard that there might be an appraiser on board today. I don't know if he's going to be speaking or whatever, but the 6th myth, it says new homes don't need them. That means you don't need a home inspector. That's not true. Inspections and appraisers are the same thing. That's not true. The inspector will find every problem. That's not true. But if he's a good inspector and he really loves what he does, you're gonna really you're gonna have a great report. I'm talking about myself. You're gonna have a really good report that's gonna be a great negotiating tool. It's gonna have the pictures that you're gonna need to identify. I've learned now on my system. I used to use a lot of red, but now I use red and yellow. Yellow is pointing. If you see something, a picture that I put, if it's yellow, I'm trying to point you to that just for you to take a look at it. Well, I'm pointing to you that this is the gutters, and this is how the gutters are running. If I got it in red, there's a problem, or there's an issue, or there's a concern that I might have, but I'm going to have a comment about that. If it's in red, I'm going to have a comment about it. I might have the comment within the picture, or I might have a comment on my comment section where I'm able to put the comment in, and you'll get it. So The other one was how homes are graded on a pass or fail. That's not true. Inspectors can tell how long a home will last. That's not true. Buyers don't need to be present. That's not true. For me, I would normally say it that if you're not going to be at the home inspection, I don't want to do the home inspection. But I don't want to do that. That's how serious I am when it comes down to it's important that you are at that home inspection or somebody that represents you that has your best interests at heart that'll get that information back to you verbatim on what we're talking about. So you'll know. My goal is to not have you call me, but I want you to call me. But my goal is to not to have you call me because the report is telling you exactly what you need. You follow me? So, like I said, I get into what I'm doing. I think I'm going to be doing this until the duration of my life. I'm 66 years old. I'll be 67 years old next year. And I'm just excited about what I'm doing. So, so I said my goal is to provide you with a thorough, accurate, detailed written report on the condition of the home, operating system, and observable structures at the time of the inspection. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. Beside those questions, that if you guys have those questions, I'll be ready to answer your questions. I contract out for radon for the people that might buy a home out in the suburbs. In the city, they don't talk about radon that much. But my thing is that everybody should, when it comes down to your home and stuff of that nature, you just got to educate yourself. You got to educate yourself about that property. Exterior, okay, I'm talking about the foundation. If the basement is unfinished, I'm going to see what's going on with our foundation. I'll be looking for cracks. I'll be looking for if there was any professional work done, because I could tell if there was some professional work done on how they try to fix the crack. We're talking about U.S. Waterproofing or some of those companies like that. There's a certain way that I can tell if they actually did something. And 9 times out of 10, they should have a warranty, a lifetime warranty on that repair, some type of documents or whatever the case may be for that. So, it's going to be a great adventure for you. It should be very important and sincere when you're looking for that property. You got to really like that property. You got to be prepared. You got to don't put yourself in a strain. When it comes down to inspection fees, you got to put aside. I just wrote it down. You got to make sure you got at least $600 set aside for your home inspection. You can go from $475 to $600 depending on the square footage. I mean, if it's a multi-unit, if it's a condo, if it's a single family, 4-unit or whatever, the age, I look at a variety of things. Matter of fact, I think I mentioned in certain of those jurisdictions, I try to call a village, and it's called a FOID, something Freedom Act, a Freedom Informational Act. I don't know how many home inspection does it, but I do it out of a courtesy. That's something that you can actually do for yourself, and it'll pull up information about that house, that property. If there was any code, any violations, any permits pulled, and I'm going to ask those questions, or I'll pull up that information. I pull up the information when it come down to code violations. If it's in the city, there's a system that I go to. I think that I got about 5 different systems that I can go to pull up whatever is going on, whatever about that house, and I put together my folder along with your binder. And if you guys ever use me, you'll see what I'm saying. I follow it to a T, where I do it consistently. And if you wasn't there, I would do the same thing with you or without you, because I like what I do. It's as simple as that. So no further ado, I hope that I I don't want to really miss that, but I believe that I said a lot. But I do have information here. You guys got questions? Please, just say what you're going to say, and let's see if we can answer some of your questions. So that's Applied Ethics Home Inspection LLC. You can Google it. You'll see the website. You'll see my information. But as a whole, your broker or your agent, they supposed to, give you, 3 or 4 home inspections, inspected for you to choose from. And based on your conversation with them, you can if you're a good judge of character, you can pick from, your heart if this is the home inspector that you want to go with based on other information that you pull from them or whatever. If they're part of an association, I'm a part of the American Association of Home Inspectors. I have my licensing. I've got all my credentials in order. You could just go to the site. The site has a wealth of information. You can also go there to schedule, put information in. I'm pretty prompt on getting back with you, the client. So thank you so much, seriously, for allowing me to present myself to you today.
Thank you, Perry. Excellent job. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry, you guys, it's 7:03. We did answer a lot of the questions that are in the chat. So in the interest of time, we are going to have to conclude for this evening. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Donamici as we get ready to exit for today. Perry, can you put your information in the chat real quick for them?
Yes, Mr. Davis is no longer on the call with us.
Oh, okay. So then that means that we're just going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us on the call. We sincerely appreciate you. We're looking forward to being able to ensure that you purchase your property peacefully and quickly, and it be the property that you desire most in your life. You all having a phenomenal rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you on next Wednesday. Take care.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Sweetly. Thank you, all the guests. Thank you all for joining the call, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Perry, he's trying to get it. Hold on, Perry. I'll put it in there for you. If you.
And those who are getting the contact information from Ms. Deborah as well as Mr. Perry, make sure that you note that you were a part of the Wealthy Wednesday with My Turn to Own. All right, those who are just getting information, I'm going to be ending this call in about 30 seconds. All right, good night, everyone.